My name is Stella. I'm 22, and last week I boarded a one-way flight to Germany. My family didn't know about it until the very last moment, and by then it was too late to stop me. I had spent years being the invisible daughter, the one who worked 3 jobs while my younger brother Tyler's every whim was catered to. But I was finally walking toward something bigger, something that belonged solely to me. 3 weeks before that flight, I crossed my college graduation stage completely alone. I had graduated summa cum laude with honors, the culmination of 4 years of sacrifice, sleepless nights, and constant self-denial. But back home, my parents were hosting a Super Bowl party with 50 guests. The seats reserved for my family were empty. I sat in a parking lot afterward, sobbing until my lungs burned, clutching my diploma in one hand and a letter I hadn't opened in the other. That letter would change everything. To understand how I got here, I have to go back 6 weeks. I'm sitting cross-legged on my dorm room bed, phone pressed to my ear, heart pounding. I call my parents to confirm my graduation date. "Mom?" I say softly. "Sweetheart." Her voice is careful. "You know what day that is, right?" "Yes, Super Bowl Sunday," I answer, trying to keep my voice steady. There's silence, filled only by the blaring of Dad's television in the background. "Stella," he finally says, voice taking over. "Tyler has important guests coming that day. There's a scout from the NFL. Could be his big break." I feel my chest tighten. Tyler. Always Tyler. "Dad," I whisper, "I'm graduating with honors. I've been working toward this for 4 years, and we're proud of you." Mom's voice returns, soft, practiced. "Honey, graduations happen every year. Super Bowl only comes once." I bite back the scream rising in me. I want to remind them of the 3 jobs I worked to pay for my tuition, the nights I survived on instant noodles, the sleepless mornings, the research papers they never read. But screaming changes nothing in this family. "I understand," I whisper. "Good girl," their silence seems to say. 4 years earlier, at 18, I ran downstairs waving my college acceptance letter like a golden ticket. "Mom, Dad, I got in, and I have a scholarship." Dad barely glanced up from his laptop. "That's nice, sweetheart, but we need to talk about money. Tyler needs specialized training this year. His coach says he has real potential, but the scholarship covers only 60%. Stella, you understand, right?" I understood perfectly. From that day on, I became a ghost in my own family. I applied for every scholarship I could find. I worked at a coffee shop at 6 a.m., taught at noon, tutored until midnight. My GPA climbed to 3.9, while my bank account hovered near zero. Meanwhile, Tyler got a new Mustang for his 19th birthday, a personal nutritionist, and first-class flights to tryouts across the country. Investments, they called them. For 4 years, I went home exactly 6 times. Each visit was a repeat of the same scene: cook for Tyler's friends, watch him open gifts, hear stories of his games. No one asked about my papers on social inequality. No one cared about my research, my honors, my achievements. But someone did notice: Grandma Grace. At 80, sharp as a tack, she had always been the one who saw me. "Stella, my darling," she said when I called her after the 6-week phone call with my parents, "you're not alone. I'll be there, even if I have to crawl. You never needed their approval to shine, sweetheart. You never did." 1 week before graduation, Dr. Margaret Smith, my thesis advisor, called me into her office. She never sugarcoated anything. "Sit," she said, gesturing to the chair across from her cluttered desk. My heart hammering, I obeyed. "Did I do something wrong?" I asked. "No," she said, holding up a hand. "I've been watching you for 4 years. Your thesis on socioeconomic barriers in education, it's exceptional. 8 months ago, I nominated you for something." My pulse quickened. "A Fulbright nomination," she said, sliding a cream-colored envelope across her desk. "Do not open it now. Wait until graduation. Today is about your accomplishment, your moment." I tucked it inside my gown and waited, trembling with possibilities. 5 days before graduation, I drove home to pick up belongings from my childhood room. The driveway was adorned with a massive banner: Tyler's future NFL star party, Super Bowl Sunday. Inside, Mom was on the phone ordering catering, Dad was setting up a second TV, and Tyler lounged like a king. I walked past unnoticed. "Do you need help?" I asked. No, you should head back to school, Mom said, dismissing me. Don't you have that ceremony thing soon? That ceremony thing? I whispered to myself, a bitter laugh escaping. The night before graduation, I called once more. Mom answered, distracted, already tipsy. I told her I was student representative for the speech. She nodded, then waved me off for the Super Bowl prep. The call ended, and I sat on my bed, staring at the gown hanging in the closet. Dr. Smith's envelope felt impossibly heavy in my pocket. This, I realized, was the only thing that still belonged to me. Super Bowl Sunday arrived. I woke at 6 a.m., dressed in a thrift store dress and my graduation gown. My phone buzzed. Tyler texting, "Good luck." Grandma Grace promised she'd make it. My heart lifted slightly. The stadium was a sea of families. I searched for Section C, row 12, 4 empty seats, except one. The purple scarf Grandma Grace had knitted, faded and crooked, draped across a chair. She was there. She had made it. The processional music swelled. 3,000 graduates filed in. My legs shook as I stepped forward. The announcer called my name, Stella Whitney, summa cum laude, departmental honors in sociology. I gripped the podium, looking out at a sea of faces. Grandma Grace was there, standing, clapping, her eyes bright. I spoke. My voice carried across the stadium. 4 years ago, I arrived on this campus with 2 suitcases and $17. I had no safety net, no backup plan, but I had determination, and I had the belief that hard work would speak louder than circumstances. Today, I want to speak to every student who worked a midnight shift before an 8 a.m. exam, to every student whose family didn't show, who felt invisible. You don't need permission to shine. You never did. The stadium erupted in applause, and I stepped back, my legs trembling. My envelope was still there, untouched. After the ceremony, I sat in the parking lot, crying for all the lost years. The Uber driver offered tissues without a word. I opened Dr. Smith's envelope, a Fulbright scholarship to Heidelberg University in Germany, fully funded, a research assistantship, $100,000 in total value. I read it 4 times. My life had changed. 3 weeks later, I arrived at Grandma Grace's 80th birthday party, 1 suitcase and my letters in hand. Tyler bragged about his tryouts, my parents lingered on small talk, and no one noticed me. Then Grandma called for good news. Tyler shared his achievements. Cousins, aunts, uncles, friends shared theirs. Finally, Grandma's gaze landed on me. I unfolded the Fulbright letter for everyone to see. Silence. Then astonishment. Mom pale, Dad stunned, cousins whispering, Aunt Carol wide-eyed, Tyler slack-jawed. I stated calmly, I received this on graduation day, the same day you chose a football game over my speech, the same day I spoke to 3,000 people alone. I wanted you to hear it now so you'd finally understand. The room shifted. Grandma Grace rose. I've stayed quiet for decades, not today. Donna, you chose football over your daughter's greatest achievement. Richard, you poured everything into Tyler while Stella worked 3 jobs to pay her own way. You all failed her. Mom wept. Dad's face fell. Tyler finally said, Sis, I didn't know. I never saw it. I nodded. I'm not angry at you, Tyler, but I've chosen myself. I'm going where I'm valued. 2 days later, I stood at the International Departures Gate. My phone buzzed constantly. I answered only Grandma Grace. She said softly, Fly safe, my darling. The world is waiting for you. As the plane lifted off, I looked down at the Texas suburbs shrinking below. Behind me, a life of neglect. Ahead, Germany, Heidelberg, a fully funded scholarship and a future of my own making. 6 months later, in my tiny Heidelberg apartment, I received a video call from Mom. She looked older, tired, but different. Stella, I'm ashamed. Your father and I have been in therapy. We finally see how we treated you versus Tyler. I didn't call to ask you to forgive us. I wanted you to know. I listened. I didn't respond immediately. I watched her struggle to reconcile decades of neglect. I thought of Grandma Grace, who had always seen me. I thought of the girl on that dorm bed 6 weeks before graduation, trembling over an envelope that promised a future she deserved. I realized something vital. I don't need anyone's permission to shine. I don't need approval. I don't need validation from people who chose not to look. I only need to know my worth. And now, I finally do. I smiled at Mom's tearful face through the screen. I said softly, "That's enough for now." Outside, the German winter pressed against my window. My research was flourishing, doors were opening, and for the first time, I was flying towards something instead of running from it. Somewhere across the Atlantic, Texas slumbered. Somewhere behind me, my old life waited. But ahead, the world awaited Stella Whitney, scholar, daughter, survivor. I pulled out my laptop, sent a message to Dr. Smith, and promised to make her proud. The sun rose over Heidelberg, painting the clouds gold, and I let myself hope.